The ocean never tells the whole truth. People in Long Island know that better than most. On the map, Gilgo Beach looks like any other quiet stretch of sand. Summer houses, thin roads, wind-blown dunes. But at night, the place changes. The water gets darker, the air turns heavy, and the emptiness settles in like a weight on your chest. For years, that emptiness hid something monstrous. Not a ghost, not a legend. A real killer. Someone who walked among everyone else, bought groceries, went to work, waved at neighbors, all while keeping the worst secret in New York's modern history. This is the story of the Gilgo Beach bodies, and the killer hiding behind the normal life everyone thought they understood. On December 11, 2010, a police officer and his canine partner were searching the area for a missing woman named Shannon Gilbert. She'd run into the darkness months earlier after a terrified 911 call, screaming that someone was after her. The police weren't expecting to find her. They definitely weren't expecting what came next. The dog suddenly froze, pulled forward, and locked onto a thick patch of brush. Inside it was a burlap sack. Inside the burlap sack was a human body. Not Shannon, someone else. A woman who had been missing for years, and she wasn't alone. Within days, investigators found 3 more bodies, all positioned almost like someone had lined them up along the sand dunes. All 4 women had disappeared years earlier. All were left in the same kind of burlap sack. All were placed within walking distance of each other, disturbingly close. Suddenly, it wasn't just a search anymore. It was a crime scene that stretched for miles. Police expanded the search, combing every patch of brush from Gilgo Beach to Oak Beach. That's when more remains surfaced, some belonging to a toddler, some to a woman whose torso had washed up on a different beach years before, and others who still haven't been identified to this day. It became the kind of case nobody wants, the kind that reveals how much darkness can hide behind a quiet coastline. Investigators had almost nothing. No eyewitnesses, no recorded interactions, no fingerprints. Whoever did this was patient, organized, and frighteningly calm. Years passed, leads dried up, and Gilgo Beach became a wound that never fully healed. Then in 2022, new technology and a cold case task force dug back into old phone records. Payphones, burner phones, digital ping trails that had never been fully mapped. All those threads pointed toward one name, Rex Heuermann. A tall, heavy-set architect who worked in Manhattan, a father, a husband, a man with a stable career, clients, routines, someone nobody would ever look at twice. But detectives did, and the deeper they dug, the uglier it got. Heuermann's life looked painfully normal. A 2-story home, a quiet neighborhood. He carried architectural plans in one hand and coffee in the other. But investigators discovered he'd spent years using burner phones to track, lure, and hunt vulnerable women. When police finally raided his home, they found weapons, burner phones, suspicious searches, and disturbing online activity that tied back to the victims. Forensic threads began to lock in: DNA, phone records, vehicle matches, timeline overlaps. Piece by piece, a picture formed, one of a man who lived an entire double life. The kind of killer who doesn't rely on chaos, the kind who uses routine, predictability, normalcy, the kind who disappears into society without leaving a ripple. Even after his arrest in 2023, the case didn't stop. Some victims remain unidentified. Some families still don't have closure. And investigators believe he may be linked to more cases than they can confirm. The worst part, they still haven't determined exactly how many lives were taken. That stretch of sand, the place where families picnic during the summer, is forever marked. Locals still talk about it quietly, as if speaking too loudly might wake something lurking beneath the dunes. Even now, with the supposed killer behind bars, the fear hasn't faded, because there's a question every detective has silently asked. Was he the only one? Or is this coastline still hiding someone else? Someone just as patient, just as careful, just as invisible. That's the real horror of Gilgo Beach. Not just the bodies, not just the killer, but the unsettling truth that sometimes the most terrifying monsters look exactly like everyone else. Subscribe to Nightroot Horror, where true horror runs deep, and beware what lurks in the shadows.